Hey guys, it's Julian, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how to release your own music and some really important tips that I've learned from self-releasing my own EP that I just dropped, Point of No Return, on my label Reflection. Before this video gets started, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out all my sample packs. They're right at the top of the description. Everything is just $5 or $10. It really helps support me. If you guys enjoy these videos, I don't make a whole lot just off of YouTube ads and off of YouTube alone, but with the sample packs and sponsor videos like I'm about to get to in a second for today, I'm able to keep going. So definitely go grab something. Like I said, tons of great samples. Some of the best quality samples on the market are available right at the top of the description for this video. So go grab those. Thanks for all the support, guys. And I also want to let you guys know that today's video is sponsored by DistroKid. Now, DistroKid, if you don't know, is a really solid distribution company that you can use to get your music on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Beatport, Deezer, Google Play Music, pretty much Amazon, pretty much any different streaming service or music sale sort of platform that is being used right now and is considered professional. DistroKid can get your music on there, and it's just a really solid way that it works. I think you only pay $20 a year or something like that, but you get unlimited access to releasing as much music as you want, and you get full control of it as well. You can say when it drops. You can literally drop a song tomorrow if you want to on Spotify. It's great. It's super useful. They have great stats as well that you can use to really check out and see where your music is going, how it's doing, and just really get to understand what's going on. On top of that, they have other really great stuff like, you can have your team be automatically paid out from your royalties. You can list, like if you have a manager that gets, say, 15 or 20%, you can list them as a member of your team, and then they'll get 15% of everything, of every record sale, or every stream, or whatever. So, it's a really useful tool. I want to thank them again for sponsoring this video. It really helps keep me going, and yeah, check out DistroKid, link is in the description. And let's dive in with the tips. So, the first tip that I've learned about releasing your own music is that a lot of times, obviously, like if we're all making kind of similar techno tracks, at the end of the day, like what really separates something with like 5 plays from something with like 5,000 plays or 500,000 plays or 5 million plays or 5 billion plays even? And a lot of times what I've learned is it's really the presentation and sort of the packaging that you put it in. You have to think about this as a product, right? Like you're making the box for your product essentially, like a toy or like literally anything you could think to sell. A lot of times the packaging is what sells it. And so I think the artwork can really make a big difference in terms of that professionalism. And like when you look at one release and say, oh, well, that's just like whatever. And then you look at another and you say, wow, this is really like a solid professional self-release track. A lot of times the artwork and the general packaging and like, the branding around it makes a really big difference for that. And you'd really be surprised, like if you take like the same song and put it with different sort of like, put it on a different YouTube channel and like with a different artwork and like different people promoting it, different DJs playing it, you're going to have a whole different idea of that song. So that's something you really got to keep in mind, is your music is very, very important, but all the stuff we're going to be talking about today is after you get to the point where the music is extremely good, you're confident that it's good enough to be put out, and all that. Like, yes, of course, that's very important, but I'm talking about once you get past that, because you can't only have that. You can't only have good music. Good music alone, not enough. I'm sorry, but it just isn't. So ultimately, I think that it's important to do that, but really, like, this is all going to be after that, and ultimately, yeah, I think the packaging and the artwork can make a really big difference and can really make the difference between something being okay and something being really great. On top of that, if you have really eye-catching artwork, you might have noticed I tried to do this with my EP. It's like, if you have really eye-grabbing artwork, people are going to click on it. It's like, there's a million labels on Beatport that just have like that same kind of like release structure for their artworks, and they all look the same, and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. But then imagine if you just see something crazy there, like you're scrolling through the Beatport homepage and you see this like crazy 3D render album cover instead, you know what I mean? You're going to click on that because it's in a sea of other boring stuff. So I think ultimately like you really got to think about the packaging and the way that you put the music out a lot more than a lot of people are doing. The second thing here is don't be afraid to get a mixer or a mastering engineer. I think a lot of people want to do things themselves, and they want to say like, oh, I mixed and mastered this track myself, listen to how good it sounds. But it's not really about that. It's not about like saying, I'm the best at every single aspect of this, and this is why. It's really more about just the final product, like I was saying. It's like, if you have something that sounds maybe 80% as good as it could sound because you're mixing it, but then it could be 100% if someone else mixes it. Well, you have to think about it from that more objective kind of like standpoint, right? You have to kind of look at it from the outside and say, well, it's just going to be a better track if someone else mixes it. Like, why not? Like, you know, and you just have to kind of get over that pride of like, oh, like, you know, I can do this the best myself. Because the truth is, like, usually the person who makes the track isn't always the best one to mix it. And even if a lot of people do mix their own music, I mix my own music, even if that's the case, a lot of times you're really not going to be the one who's also mastering it. You know, I think it's totally cool to get a different set of ears on it, and there's no shame in that. It's not like I think people have this misconception that it makes you, like, not as good, or you're not authentic, or it's fake. Dude, it's just about putting out good music. That's all, you know, stop overthinking it. And yeah, the third tip that I have here is that pre-saves, like Spotify pre-saves specifically, really don't matter. Now, I've heard a lot of different conflicting things about this. I've heard that, like, you know, they help the algorithm, like you might have a better chance of getting in the Spotify editorial playlists because, you know, Spotify is seeing all this data on your song before it even launches, all that. But it's like, what is all this pre-saving really doing? Like, all these people are like out here like, oh, we got a pre-save campaign. Everyone's pre-saving a track. Your song isn't even out yet, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's so worried about, like, trying to make something happen before the song's even out so that then when the song comes out, it can have numbers. Like, stop worrying about that, you know? It's not always about just having numbers on the first day. Like, a lot of people just put out music, it has 0 Spotify plays, 0 YouTube plays, and then they start promoting it, you know? And, like, all this stuff about, like, oh, we got a pre-save campaign, like, to me, it kind of seems like people are trying to, like, make it seem like it's bigger than it is, you know what I mean? They're trying to create this air of, like, oh, wow, look, all these people pre-saved their track, when it's, like, the truth is, like, you're probably not anywhere now. Like, unless you have people just clamoring in to save your track into the playlist and you're already a huge artist, like, you're not fooling anybody, you know what I mean? Like, there's no point in trying to say, like, oh, look, I got all these people to get into my track before it's already out. Like, you know, just let go of your fear. Just put the song out and then try to make people put it in their playlist, you know? Because, like, ultimately, I think a lot of that kind of stuff is just going to fall by the wayside, right? Like, you're going to put all this time into getting a bunch of people to click your stupid pre-save link in your Instagram bio, and then by the time the song comes out, they're going to be tired of engaging with you, and they're not even going to want to actually do anything when you say, hey, go check out the song. And then a week later when you say, hey, go check it out again, you know? They're already going to be tired because you've been hammering your pre-save campaign over their heads. So I think that's really important. And then the last thing here that I think is going to be really important to keep in mind here, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, is music and marketing are two very, very different art forms. And I think that marketing is just as much of an art as music is, and I think that you can be a marketing artist just the same as you can be a music artist. But I think people really need to keep in mind that they're two different things. And ultimately, I think the people who are going to win the biggest are the people who can see those as two separate art forms and truly, like, approach them as two different arts. Like, not just seeing marketing as, like, this thing of, oh, well, we gotta go do this, oh, I gotta take this photo shoot, I gotta do whatever. Instead of seeing it as, like, this drag, see it as, like, another art form, like I said. Like, kind of understanding, like, how you can line up, like, the smartest plays and, like, really make stuff happen for yourself in a way that, one, hasn't been done before by artists in the past, and two, is just going to be, like, more interesting than just, like I said, like, trying to be one of those artists that's just, like, oh, I just have good music and it comes out on this same label every single time. Like, that's boring, you know? So I think that's really important, and I think that a lot of these tips are really going to only work best for you if you've already gotten to a place where you are really treating the music as, like, you know, it just has to be as good as possible, right? Like, you can't do this unless your music is at the best possible place. Because all that stuff about, like, having professional artwork, well, professional artwork is going to make a difference if your track is maybe, like, 5% less good than another one. It's not going to make a difference if you just started 3 months ago and your music is obviously not, like, where it needs to be yet, and you're just putting out a track with, like, some crazy artwork, but it still sounds like you don't really know what you're doing, you know? Ultimately, you're going to have to get to a point where you master that, and then you master the marketing. And you can do it at the same time. You know, I mean, a lot of people get big songs before they've made, like, their best stuff, of course. But ultimately, I think that really, if you just try to get your music really, really good, you know, a lot of this stuff is going to kind of slide into place. Like, it's going to make sense. Like, you know, if you get somebody to mix or master your track, and your track is already 95% of the way there, well, they might add like 15% to it, right? And then that might go to 110%. But then if you get someone to mix your track and your track's like 50% of the way there and they add 15%, well, then it's only going to be 65%. It's better than it was, but it's still not at 100%. But again, if you were at 95%, you might be at 110 by adding that little 15% bonus. So that's just something that you want to keep in mind. And ultimately, I think that it's two different art forms. I think that, you know, there could be books and books and books and so much information out there about marketing music. Like, I really think that it needs to be treated more like the art form that it is. And yeah, so that's going to be it for this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed. As always, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. And let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Let me know if you want to see more stuff about putting out your music independently, because I think we are dawning on a new era here, and I'm trying to be on the forefront of it. Thanks again to DistroKid for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate the support, guys. Like I said, DistroKid is probably one of the best places out there to put your music on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Beatport, all these different places that we need to get our music into. They've got a great service, it works super well, and it's super easy to use. Link is in the description. Also, the link to all my sample packs is right at the top of the description. I appreciate the support, guys. Again, every sale really helps keep me going so I can keep bringing you guys new videos every single day. If you enjoy my videos, definitely go grab some of those so I can make you some more. And yeah, thank you so much, guys, and I will see you tomorrow with another video.